Hi everyone, this is Ben Gluns, the CEO of BIMsmith, joining you again for another edition of BIMsmith Winter Wonderland, the Revit Family Competition. As usual, we had a bunch of amazing submissions and you all put in a lot of work. So we had a lot of fun reviewing the content this year, and we're going to be sharing that in just a moment. But I'm joined by John Pearson from Parallax team and Jim Balding from the Ant Group as our guest judges this year, and really thrilled to have them here with us as we judge the content. So we're going to dive in.
All right, so the judges chose as an honorable mention, actually one of my favorites was SpongeBob.
One of the really cool things about the SpongeBob family is proving a theory that you can actually serve up another Revit family based on logic in another family. And so making that adjustable through all the different categories that Revit provides and serving that up by any of the families in the project is a really useful little hack that was uncovered there by Simon. And so that was particularly interesting to us as we were playing with that family.
But then beyond that, the modeling in SpongeBob himself, it was very accurate. You could look at him in elevation. He looked like SpongeBob. You knew what he was. And you really felt like it was professionally done.
To add to this, just the family itself is already really crazy. Like you said, Jim, modeling SpongeBob in Revit, people think you can't do that. It can be done, evidently. And then on top of that, all these parameters just to make things appear just so clever. So this family really stood out in that way, and yeah, it's a really cool family, and I encourage everyone to dissect this one and try to get this family to learn from as well. So the judges picked another honorable mention this year for the contest, and that's this charcuterie board. Each one of these elements is a Revit family modeled. Each one is face-based. You can swap them out, so if you want a different olive, you can pick that and so on. So really creative in that way. You can even switch these out if you don't want olives and you just want a whole lot of grapes, you can do that as well. So you could really change these charcuterie boards to be whatever you want. Pretty different family. I don't believe we've ever seen any food family submitted to this contest, which is pretty cool. On top of that, the user went another step further and they included a shopping list schedule with prices assigned to all these things. And yeah, charcuterie boards are pretty expensive if you're doing those around Christmas or New Year's or whatever. So kind of a fun family, pretty in-depth in that way, and definitely an honorable mention. And a good way to think outside of the box for this competition. Bonus points would have been awarded if we would have saw some cheese knives on the board as well.
I'll add to that just a little bit. This family scored tops in originality. None of us would have thought to do a charcuterie board for this competition, and that really scored some really top-notch points.
So for third place, the judges have picked the fireworks family that was modeled for this year. We're just in a 3D view of it right now, but this family is a really intense adaptive component with a whole lot of parameters. And what really sold this for us was this 3D view that's in here that's preloaded that doesn't look like a lot going on. When you see it in the rendering, it just looks really great. Thinking to model fireworks in Revit is something else that's never crossed my mind, and this user pulled it off really cleanly and elegantly. And I'd love to see a Enscape walkthrough of this to where you're actually walking around and see the fireworks in the air. Because while you could do this in post and add fireworks, having them in the model as an asset is really cool. So this one really spoke to us in that way.
And I just echo those same points, that being able to walk through, manipulate, and customize what you want out of a firework family. If you were to ever think of that, this nails it. So it was a thumbs up from us. For second place, we're proud to present the musical railing. We liked the fact that you could adjust it, change the notes, etc. It was presented in Jingle Bells. In its originality and execution, it was top-notch across the board. So that really carried it to its second place finish. John had some insights as a musician to it that we want to highlight as well.
Yeah, for this musical Revit railing, it's really neat. The functionality is awesome, where you go into the type parameters. They are all balusters, so you can write your own song within Revit if you'd really like. One comment I have is they do have a bass and treble clef in here. I used to play viola in high school, so I played alto clef, and that was notably left out, so kind of a ding on that one for me, but it's okay. Other than that, this family is intense. I would have never thought to make a musical staff with all the notes in there, the eighth notes, the quarter notes. I wouldn't have ever thought to model that in Revit, much less as a railing family. So super creative family, really great sample file, and just really out of the box thinking with a wintertime spin, which is really cool.
And now the moment you've been waiting for, the first prize winner of this year's competition is Tamara Cortez with her Christmas poinsettia submission. We were completely blown away by how simple yet complex this really approachable Revit family, modeling out the actual leaves of poinsettia plant, having it be adjustable parametrically while not overburdening the model with overly complex geometry or adaptive modeling. Being able to adjust the stem length, being able to change the color, being able to change the overall size and different applications. This is totally a family that would grace any project that's being done at the holiday season. And so well done, Tamara. We're thrilled to have this be our winner for this year.
One of the things that we really liked about the Revit family is that it was basic family editing that people could actually learn from and use, and it wasn't over the top, super advanced user, but came out with a very elegant solution.
Definitely. I think what really stood out is just the adaptability of this. The fact that you can use it as a wreath, you can use it in a planter. It's just a really nice, clean family with clean lines, and seeing the story behind it's really cool too. I just think it's a really neat example of just back to basics, use Revit to do a representation of something. You know, I think it's just, and using this in a project, you throw this in a project with no problems at all. So this one really spoke to us. It's not a crazy parametric family with all these adaptive points, but that's what really spoke to us about it as well, I think.